My name is Jake Hunter, and I'm a freshman in the Life Design Lab. You may be wondering why I'm power washing, but I will explain at the end of the video. I had the idea to make an opt-out ability for students that have jobs. But before all that, when I was selecting classes as an 8th grader, I chose Life Design Lab because I needed to fulfill credits for the STEM Academy. I was excited, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. Now looking back, it was a lot different than I thought. Throughout this year, I've had to learn how to adapt to an environment where I have my own responsibilities. But I would come to realize that having those responsibilities on my back is a lot harder than I thought. In the beginning of the year, we filled out a document called the Purpose Inventory. We would fill out all our purposes, and that would lead to project ideas. At the time, I filled it out without any problem. My family, my sports, and my school were my top priorities. Looking back now, those things are still my top purposes, but I approach them differently. I started to realize that doing school, just like finishing projects, following rubrics like any other kid, I had to ask myself, what has actually changed because of this class? What I found was independence. This might be from just growing up, or might be from the challenges of my project, but I feel like it's both. The true measure of my independence didn't come from a single moment, but rather than a choice I made for my future. This year, when it came time to select courses for next year, I did something I wouldn't have done a year ago. I started to look at the bigger picture of high school. I looked at what classes actually mattered to me and what would benefit my pathway after I graduate. Because of the independence I learned in this class, I chose to drop the STEM Academy. This was a big deal for me. It was the first time I actually made a major academic decision that wasn't influenced by a rubric or what everyone else thought. Nobody but myself influenced that decision, which shows my independence I learned in this class. However, my project is what stood out in my learning. I started with a project focused on creating a study hall. In the first quarter, I was working decently hard. But then feedback night happened and we started to approach winter break. I started to slack because I thought I had so much time. I was withdrawing and participating. I was easily distracted, but I was paying attention. I just didn't have any drive for my project. When the second semester hit, I realized a general study hall wasn't the right path. I decided to try create an opt-out ability for students with jobs instead. The reason I switched was because I had problems like not enough class space, not enough teachers, or any interest from the students. Because I switched halfway through the year, I had to make up for lost time because I was essentially starting over but halfway through the year. That switch from moving from a general study hall to an opt-out system wasn't just a change in my project. It influenced a change in my mindset. I thought if I didn't get it right the first time, I was doing it wrong. When I realized the study hall wasn't working, I didn't just give up. I had to analyze to understand why it wasn't working and who it was actually supposed to help. That's a real world skill. In a job or in life, you don't always get a second semester to fix a mistake. Learning how to grind through that transition taught me more about my worth ethic than completing a packet could ever do. It taught me that my value as a student isn't just in the final product, but in my ability to fix things when they go sideways. This led me to work twice as hard to make up time. I started interviews, researched and collected data, etc. I was investing. I truly found interest in my project, and I figured out that this project could outline my purposes. The Life Design Lab emphasizes that school isn't just about following directions or checking boxes on a rubric. It's about thinking independently and making decisions without an answer key. Mr. Daly constantly reminded us that these projects are about what matters to us, and we couldn't rely on anybody's hand to hold. For a student like me, who was stuck in a cycle of doing exactly what I was told just to get a good grade, I feared this. Looking back, having so much freedom was essential for me. It taught me that real thinking happens when there are no instructions. It taught me that being independent isn't just about doing things alone, but it's about having the courage to make your own decisions. The reason I am showing myself power washing is because my friend and I started a power washing business. Throughout the countless hours of making flyers and figuring out what we would need to buy, we did it by ourselves. We didn't get help from anyone. We just figured it out independently. Trying to start a small business shows my growth in independence. My overall year of dropping STEM Academy as a personal decision and other situations like creating a small business outlined the importance of the life design class and how it taught me that being independent is important to succeed. Going to further situations, I'm going to follow this quote. The only person that should influence what you do or decide to do should be yourself and nobody else. If I could go back and talk to my 8th grade self, the version of me that just picked this class to get a STEM credit, I'd tell him to get ready to be uncomfortable. I'd tell him to try to not look for an answer key because there isn't one. But that's what makes the life design class.